Okay, hello folks, vinyl community and others that might be stopping by. It's Elliot here, Lazy Dogs Records, and I'm down here in the basement where most of my records are stored. And I thought I would start a live stream and start putting up a bunch of records. I got about 100 records I need to refile if I can. So I thought I'd stream a little more or less country rock, although that's not really the best title for it. I couldn't really think of anything else that would work. I've got some stuff that predates country, or predates rock, or predates what we call country today too. And I've got some stuff that's kind of jazzy country rock mixture. In fact, that's what I want to start out with. So, and some folky country / rock stuff. So we'll see what we play. I hope you'll enjoy it. If as anyone may be joining me now or is watching this at a later time. But we're going to start out with Clarence Gatemouth Brown, and going to play 2 or 3 songs from him right now.
here am I, feeling sad, feeling sad, feeling sad. I just lost the best woman I ever had. Fool I've been, fool I've been, fool I've been. Drove her away, drove her away, drove her away. She left town early this morning. Yes, I've been blue, yes, all day. Here am I, here am I, here am I. All alone, all alone, all alone. what to do, what to do to bring my baby back home.
All right. Well, Clarence Gatemouth Brown there. Clarence, just an amazing guitarist, fiddler. Just about any instrument he picked up, he could play. He kind of defied category in a lot of ways. As you heard, some swing, Western swing, just flat out jazzy swing. Some country influence, just a little bit of everything. I saw Clarence twice live. I saw him at a little club called JJ's in Greenville, North Carolina once. JJ's was in the middle of an alley. You had to walk halfway down the block and go down an alley behind all the buildings and then enter in halfway down the alley. You'd come into JJ's. I never thought of it that way. It's kind of a spooky little setting. And I scared the bejeebers out of Clarence Gatemouth Brown when he was playing there at JJ's. I came around a corner there in the alleyway and came up on him instantly, just right up at him and startled him. Wasn't expecting. It was dark back there, and he wasn't expecting anybody to come around there. But I mean, that's the only way you get into the club. But it was a little humorous. But he recovered quickly, of course, and put on a great show that night. I have to say. And the only other time I got to see him, saw him on an Eric Clapton tour. I think we were in. I want to say we were in Greensboro. I believe that's where the concert was, big arena concert, and Clarence Gatemouth Brown opened for Eric Clapton there. That would have probably been around 92, 88, 92, somewhere in that general range. But Clarence Gatemouth Brown, great musician. And so, as I said, when I started this, before anybody was on, doing a little more or less country rockish type stuff. Next, I'm going to play a few tracks that don't get played as much by a band that came out of Ohio and had some success, but went through numerous membership changes. So if you'll bear with me just a minute, I'll get Clarence off and I'll get the next record playing for us and see what you think. This is more, fits a little stronger into that country rock category, I'd say.
Black-eyed sweet thing, sugar loose, or you can call me when I'm clean off the one-way juice. Honey, I'm a jazz man with the Sunnyland blues, just off the streets and trying a trick or two. A trick or two. Trick or two, honey, I'm a jazz man trying a trick or two. You fold me up and you let me fly, give me a sweet, kind spirit to swing by. And honey, won't won't you call out your train time? 'Cause I'm waiting on you for your one slow ride. One slow ride, one slow ride. I need to know your train time to catch your ride. Way up and out, I'm wide and deep. Won't you put it to use and then you put it to sleep? Red hot and ready and light on my feet. I'm easy to get to and I'm easy to keep. I'm easy to please, easy to please. When you're a jazz man, you get easy to please. A trick or two, a trick or two. Honey, I'm a jazz man with the sunny land blues. Turn around, looks like it's happening one more time. Something's wrong, and I can't find a reason or a rhyme. But if you find out, don't try to tell me, 'cause I can't feel anything at all. Sunlight, you gotta shine on through so I can have it all. If you find lots of other reasons to keep me near, truth. Lay down the chosen chair.
Lay down the chosen chair.
Stay empty, shield for someone else is having a good time. Maybe shoot down your brother's heart and say things you think to be unkind. But leave my heart alone.
Got me on my
Now you've had some time on the road to yourself again. Unleash the holding powers.
unleash the holding power.
Stay where you're standing, something good is coming your way. Why everything you've been for coming around to your back door. But leave my heart alone.
Got me on my
All right, Pure Prairie League. That's I don't know if it's side one or side two. It's the side that doesn't have Fallen In and Out of Love and Amy, which was of course their big hit. I guess I don't know how high it got on the charts, on the singles charts, but it was a extremely popular album cut on album-oriented radio, and they sold a lot. In fact, the band had disbanded when this album caught on, and they reformed, if my memory serves me correctly. Craig Fuller was the original singer and probably most influential member, but he couldn't rejoin the band once this album caught on, because he was trying to avoid going to Vietnam, and he had applied as a conscientious objector, I believe, and in order to fulfill his conscientious objector status and avoid actually going into Vietnam, he had to work at a veterans hospital, I believe, or a hospital of some sort, working as an orderly, I think, and put in a certain number of, like a year working there or something along those lines, that was part of his requirements to avoid being called up into the armed services. And he went on to, when Little Feat reformed, he became their first post Lloyd George lead singer, and did a really good job. They put out some really good music during that period, and he stayed with them, maybe 5 or 6 years before he went on. He actually lives not far from me now, I understand, or at least he was within a few years ago. There's an area called the Sand Hills just to the southwest of me, well, more or less, southwest of me, that is where a lot of wealthy people live. Pinehurst, North Carolina, Pinehurst number 2, the famous golf course and everything. Golf course, resort, and retirement community. So a lot of people living there. I think he married a lady that was a doctor, and they had children, and that's why he's been reluctant to stick with staying on the road with a band or anything like that for a long time. But he's getting on into years now too, I suppose. He's probably getting close to 70 by now. Anyway, thought that was a good country rock example. Those 3 or 4 songs from Pure Prairie League from their album Bustin' Out. Next, the son of one of the most important folk artists in American history, who's been very successful in his own right. I got to see him one time on a double bill in an auditorium setting, so a nice setting, maybe 3,000 or 4,000 people in a seat theater type setting. He and John Prine toured together, and in the early 90s, I suppose. And that, of course, is Arlo Guthrie, and I'm gonna probably end up playing 4 songs from side 2 of his greatest hits. Motorcycle Song, Coming into Los Angeles, which is the first song I remember hearing from him, and Last Train, and then City of New Orleans, written by Steve Goodman and made a hit by Arlo Guthrie. So here's Arlo Guthrie with a few tunes.
Want to tickle, I'd rather ride on my motorcycle. And I don't want to die, just want to ride on my motorcycle. It's been about 12 years now that I've been singing this dumb song. It's amazing. It's amazing that somebody could get away with singing a song this dumb for that long. But what's more amazing than that is that somebody could make a living singing a song this dumb. But that's America. I told about everything there was to tell about it. When I wrote it, how come, why, what for. But the one thing that I always used to neglect to explain was the significance of the pickle. It was the time I was riding my bike. I was going down a mountain road. I was doing 150 miles an hour. On one side of the mountain road, there was a mountain. And on the other side, there was nothing. It was just a cliff in the air. But I wasn't paying attention, I was just driving down the road. All of a sudden, by accident, a string broke off my guitar. It broke, right there, went flying across the road that way, wrapped itself around a yield sign. Well, the sign didn't break, it didn't come out the ground, the string stayed wrapped around it. Stayed in the other end of my guitar. I held on to my guitar with one hand. I held on to the bike with the other. I made a sharp turn off the road. Luckily, I didn't go into the mountain. I went over the cliff. I was doing 150 miles an hour sideways and 500 feet down at the same time. Hey, I was looking for the cops. Because, hey, I knew that, it was illegal. I knew that was it. I knew I didn't have long to live in this world. And in my last remaining seconds in the world, I knew that it was my obligation to write one last farewell song to the world. Took out a piece of paper. I pulled out a pen, and it didn't write. I had to put another ink cartridge in it. I sat back and I thought a while, and then it come to me. It come like a flash, like a vision, burnt across the clouds. I just wrote it down. I learned it right away. I don't want a pickle, just want to ride on my motorcycle. And I don't want a tickle, I'd rather ride on my motorcycle. And I don't want to die, just want to ride on my motorcycle. Hey, I knew it wasn't the best song I ever wrote. But I didn't have time to change it. But the most amazing thing was that I didn't die. I landed on the top of a police car. And it died. I come into town at a screaming 175 miles an hour, singing my new motorcycle song. I stopped out front of the deli, and out front of the deli was a man eating the most tremendous pickle. A pickle the size of 4 pregnant watermelons, just a huge monster pickle. He walked up to me, pushed a pickle in my face, and started asking me questions. It was about the same time I noticed the pickle in my face. I noticed a cord hanging from the long end of the pickle, going up his sleeve, down his shirt, into his pants and shoes, out into a briefcase he had near his feet. I knew it wasn't an ordinary pickle. But it was about the same time I noticed the cord hanging out of the pickle that a 4-foot cop arrived with a 5-foot gun. A cop that one time must have been around 6'3", but was met at the bottom of a mountain by a flying, singing, writing weirdo freak. He walked up and with one tremendous hand, he grabbed the pickle away from the other guy. He threw it 100 feet straight up in the air. And while the pickle was halfway between going up and coming down, he took out his gun and put a 3-inch bullet hole right through the long end of the pickle. It started coming back down. He stuck out his foot. He caught the pickle on his big toe. And balancing the pickle on his big toe, he reached his huge hand into his little pocket. Pulled out a 10-foot ticket. He borrowed my pen. He wrote it up. Then he rolled it up and stuffed it in a bullet hole in the middle of the pickle, took the pickle with the ticket, and shoved it down my throat. It was at that very moment that the pickle with the ticket was going down my throat that I knew for sure that I didn't want a pickle. I don't want a pickle. I just want to ride on my motorcycle. I don't want a tickle. I'd rather ride on my motorcycle. And I don't want to die. Just want to ride on my motorcycle.
Feel much finer.
I wanna hop on the last train in the station. Won't need to get yourself prepared. When you're on that last train for glory, you'll know you're reasonably there. Maybe you ain't walked on any highway. You've just been flying in the air. But if you're on that last train to glory, you know you must have paid your fare. Maybe you are hungry and poor. Maybe your ticket on the last train to glory is the stranger who is sleeping on your floor. I ain't a man of constant sorrow. I ain't seen trouble all day long. We are only passengers on the last train to glory that will soon be long, long gone. I wanna hop on the last train in the station. Won't need to get yourself prepared. When you're on that last train to glory, you'll know you're reasonably there. Riding on the city of New Orleans, Illinois Central, Monday morning rail. 15 cars and 15 restless riders, 3 conductors, 25 sacks of mail. All along the southbound Odyssey, the train pulls out at Kankakee and rolls along past houses, farms, and fields, passing trains that have no name, and freight yards full of old black men, and the graveyards of the rusted automobiles. Good morning, America, how are you? Said, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Dealing card games with the old man in the club car. Penny a point, ain't no one keeping score. Pass the paper bag that holds the bottle. Feel the wheels rumbling neath the floor. And the sons of pullman porters and the sons of engineers Right, their father's magic carpets made of steel, and mothers with their babes asleep, rocking to the gentle beat, and the rhythm of the rails is all they feel. Good morning, America, how are you? Said, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done. Nighttime on the city of New Orleans, changing cars in Memphis, Tennessee. Halfway home, and we'll be there by morning. Through the Mississippi darkness, rolling down to the sea. But all the towns and people seem to fade into a bad dream, and the steel rail still ain't heard the news. The conductor sings his songs again. The passengers will please refrain. This train got to disappear in railroad blues. Good night, America, how are you? Said, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the city of New Orleans. I'll be gone 500 miles when the day is done.
And close that out with a Steve Goodman composition, City of New Orleans, as Michael noted. What a great songwriter Steve Goodman was. Yeah, he did die. He actually lived virtually all his adult life with cancer and succumbed, I don't know, maybe late 80s. He hung on for a long time, but when he was about 18 or so, he was diagnosed and would, have bad periods and then go into remission and then another, it would flare up and they would treat it and fight it off for a while, and then it would come back until he eventually succumbed to it. He wrote so many great songs and put out a bunch of really good albums. He wrote the Cubs. I believe he was a Cubs model. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not from Chicago area, so I could get this confused. It's, the White Sox and the Cubs, and you're either one or the other. I believe he was a Cubs fan, and he wrote what became the team song, which I think they played during the seventh inning stretch. At first, they didn't like the song, but the fans the management didn't like it, and I think the fans they adopted it, and so the management said, I guess we better go with this. Steve Goodman was a great songwriter. The story about how Arlo Guthrie got that song goes something like this. Guthrie is playing a club in Chicago. Steve Goodman shows up, and it was either before the show or right after the show. He gets an opportunity to speak to Arlo, and people come up to successful artists a lot with, I've got this song, or I know this guy that plays guitar, you ought to hear me play, or whatever. And this guy says, I've got some songs here I really want you to hear. I think you could do something with them. He was hesitant. and he had just gotten a beer from the bar. I think it was after the show. I think the show would, they were closing up the bar. Everybody was out pretty much, and Arlo had just picked up a beer at the bar, and he sat down and he says, "You got until I finish this song to impress me." So Goodman gets his guitar out real quick. He sits down in front of Arlo, and he plays them City of New Orleans. And of course, Arlo is blown away. He said, "Yeah, I think I can do something with that." And of course, he took it on and made it a huge hit. And that's what was the springboard for Arlo, or for Steve, to begin getting noticed and getting a record contract. And eventually he formed his own record label, which was kind of unheard of at the time, Red Pajama Records. And his good friend John Prine did the same thing with Old Boy Records. And so they were doing their own thing rather than going the major label route, a lot sooner than a lot of artists. Not all artists, others were doing it too, but they were some of the early ones to do that. Now I'm going to go pre-rock and roll. One of the great finger-picking guitarists, blind guitarist named Riley Puckett, from an album Waiting for the Evening Mail. Riley Puckett was the guitarist for the Skillet Lickers, or Gid Tanner and the Skillet Lickers, and he's also sang and played in his own right, recorded in his own right. This would be the period of the 78s, of course. This would have been in the 1930s. But you can see, it's just fun. I'm going to play a couple of songs. I'm playing I'm Ragged But I'm Right and Waiting for the Evening Mail.
I'm ragged but right. I'm a thief and a gambler. I get drunk every night. Get a porterhouse steak 3 times a day for my board. That's more than any loafer in this town can afford. Big electric fan to keep me cool while I sleep. A little baby girl to play around at my feet. I'm a rambling gambler and I'm drunk every night. I tell you boys, I'm ragged but right. I go everywhere, I don't pay no fare. I can ride a freight train just anywhere. If I win or lose, I don't get no blues. A lot of gamblers roaming for me. Well, I come here to tell you people I'm ragged but right. Thief and a gambler, I get drunk every night. Get a porterhouse steak 3 times a day for my board. That's more than any loafer in this town can afford. A big electric fan to keep me cool while I sleep. Little baby girl to play around at my feet. I'm a rambling gambler and I'm drunk every night. I tell you boys, I'm ragged but right. People, I'm ragged but right. I'm a thief and a gambler. I get drunk every night. Get a porterhouse steak 3 times a day for my board. That's more than any loafer in this town can afford. A big electric fan to keep me cool while I sleep. A little baby girl to play around at my feet. I'm a I've been by the jail this morning. I heard a hard luck brother moan. I'm in here, right where I don't belong. I never done no wrong. As I passed by his window, I could hear him moaning this song. Sitting on the inside, looking at the outside, waiting for the evening mail. Lordy, what a feeling, four walls and a ceiling, Judge. I mean that low-down jail separated me from everything but the evening mail. I'm like a ship without a sail. Rode my one-time mama down in Jacksonville. Said, sweet mama, I'm in jail. Now, honey, please don't fail me. Hurry now and mail me bail. It's been a year ago. I'm still on the inside, looking at the outside, waiting for the evening mail. Sitting on the inside, looking at the outside, waiting for the evening mail. Lordy, what a feeling, four walls and a ceiling, Judge. I mean that low-down jail separated me from everything but the evening mail. I'm like a ship without a sail. Rode my one-time mama down in Jacksonville. Said, sweet mama, I'm in jail. Now, honey, please don't fail me. Hurry now and mail me bail. It's just a year ago. I'm still on the inside, looking at the outside, waiting for the evening mail. Rode my one-time mama down in Jacksonville. Said, sweet mama, I'm in jail. Hurry now, don't fail me. Hurry now and mail me bail. It's been a year ago. Still on the inside, looking at the outside, waiting for the evening mail.
All right. So that's a title track from a Riley Puckett album, of course. These were old 78s from the 1930s put together in a compilation on County Records. County Records did a lot of really good stuff with taking old 78s from artists that probably would have disappeared into obscurity if it had not been for a record label like County to take it upon themselves to preserve that. But Riley Puckett and waiting on the evening mail. You know, remember before we had email, before we had text messaging and all that sort of stuff, getting a letter was a big event. That was something that was cherished. Communication was much slower then, and I mean, even in my lifetime, we had telephones, but we didn't have. Growing up, everybody had party lines. Nobody had their own phone line. You had to share that phone line with sometimes a half dozen other families, sometimes just one or two. We shared ours with our neighbors, the Bradleys, and they had teenage children when I was a little kid, and I remember picking the phone up. You know, the temptation's there. You pick it up, and you had to pick up to see if anybody was already on. And if it was an emergency, you cut in and say, look, I need to use the line. I'm sorry, it's an emergency or something like that. Or I need to make a phone call in a little while. You reckon you'll be off in 15 minutes or whatever. So, I mean, that was a common occurrence. So I picked up the phone and more than once. as a 7 or 8 year old kid, and one of the Bradley children who were, high schoolers at the time would be talking with their boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever and stuff like that, or talking to their friends, and I'd listen for a little while, curious, being a curious kid. Okay, so that went way on back, 1930s, much prior to anything to do with rock and roll. And now I'm going to go, I haven't played any female artists, so you can't underestimate the great talent of Linda Ronstadt. So I'm going to play from her Asylum 1973 Asylum album, a few tracks. Up, and because I'm not real good at dropping that needle right at the right spot, and I don't want to scratch my record, but I wanted to play the second and third track on this Linda Ronstadt album.
I don't care what you say. But love has no pride when I call your name. And love has no pride when there's no one to blame. But I'd give anything to see you again. If I could buy your love, well, I'd surely try, my friend. Yes, I'd give anything to see you I don't want your lonely mansion with a tear in every room. All I want's the love you promised beneath the haloed moon. But you think I should be happy with your money and your name, and hide myself in sorrow while you play your chicken game. Silver threads and golden needles cannot bend this heart of mine, and I dare not drown my sorrow in the warm glow of your wine. You can't buy my love with money, 'cause I never was that kind. Silver threads and golden needles cannot bend this heart of mine. Silver threads and golden needles cannot bend this heart of mine, and I dare not drown my sorrow in the warm glow of your wine. You can't buy my love with money, 'cause I never was that kind. Silver threads and golden needles cannot bend this heart of mine. Silver threads and golden needles cannot bend this heart of
All right, Linda Ronstadt from one of her 1973 Asylum record, and Silver Threads and Golden Needles. I do have a Linda story. One of the first concerts I ever went to, I had just gotten my driver's license. I just turned 16, so we're talking about 1974. And my brother, who's a couple of years older than me, took advantage of that fact and grabbed me up one Saturday night and said, "Come on, you're driving." And I guess he paid for my ticket. I don't know. But he and his good friend and a friend of mine as well, Tony Brown, they put me in the driver's seat and said, "Drive to Fayetteville." And there we went to the Linda Ronstadt concert, and it was a wonderful concert. Now, the reason I was driving, as you might imagine, was that my brother and Tony were partaking in, it was either George Dickel or Jack Daniels. I don't know which. And they were, let's put it this way, they were well lubricated by the time the concert started. And they shouted, and it was back in the day of festival seating. So, which meant there was no seating. The floor of the Cumberland County Memorial Auditorium, I believe, is what it was called at that time. Now, Fayetteville is a military town, Fort Bragg. So it's not a big college town. There's a couple of small colleges, but not a big student population in the area. So the crowd is a unique crowd, military, a lot of GIs, young 1974. So we're talking like the tail end of the Vietnam War, and they all came in either came to Fort Bragg before they shipped them off to Vietnam, or when they came back from Vietnam, many of them were stationed in the area as well. So it's an interesting mix, interesting crowd. But my brother and Tony were shouting some of the most combination of hilarious and disgusting remarks at Linda Ronstadt, expressing their great love for her and the things they wanted to do and wished she would do for them. And it was a little humorous. And then when we left, I'm driving again, just gotten my driver's license, and I pull up behind. They're nodding off, in the car, and I stop because there's a tractor trailer in front of me on a street in Fayetteville before we get on the main highway, and it's parked. You know how trucks will park for the night, and there's not enough room to put off the side of the road, so they'll put out one of those triangle lights, reflecting lights and things there, and you just have to go around them. And I sat there not knowing what to do, what was going on or what to do. Finally, one of either Tony or Ernie wakes up and said, "Damn, Elliot, go around them. And for the rest of my life, they have never let me forget that. And I tell this story because when I retired, they had my daughter put on a little party for me, for a retirement party, and Tony, of course, was there, and my brother was there, and of course that story came up for the 5,000th time, I think, and I took it with good humor because I always did, because it was true. I had no idea what to do, and they were sitting there, but I always include and let their wives know what they were doing at the concert, So, but sadly, that's a good memory. That's a good memory of Tony. Sadly, Tony's been battling cancer for 5 or 6 years now, and me and another friend go over and visit him sometimes, and he's pancreatic cancer, so it's not something that's going to go away. And he loved to go out to his detached garage area where he had a stereo, where he had a bunch of records. He liked to collect records, and his turntable wasn't working properly, and I was able to work on a turntable I had at home and get it functioning well, and carry it out there and get his get where we could he could play records once again when he felt up to it. He was declining rapidly. And the last time we were out there, another friend had driven up from about 3 hours away, and another friend from nearby came, and there were 4 of us visiting there, and he felt well enough on unsteady legs to walk out to his garage, and we sat out there and played Led Zeppelin and Leonard Skinner, I believe, is what we put on, and played records and talked about old times, and he was in good spirits. And I took, I said, Tony, I collected about 15 or 20 of his records, some Jimi Hendrix and some Leonard Skinner and some Led Zeppelin and some, I think some Merle Haggard, and some just a variety of some of his records, country and rock. And carried him home. I said, I'm going to carry him and I'm going to clean them for you and bring them back, so you'll have them good clean. I got them all cleaned up. It took me about a week or two, and I got them all cleaned up, and then we were going to carry him out there to him and put him on the turntable for him if he felt well enough to get out to the garage and listen to some music together. And I was going to do that the first of the week, and Sunday morning about 7 o'clock I got a call. This was about 2 weeks ago, and Tony had passed away that morning. And so, folks, cherish your friendships. Remember the good times, and try to be there for your friends when you can. because you don't know how long you're going to have them. So that's my Tony story. One of the great, somebody that I've been friends with for since I can remember, I guess, for the last 50 plus years. Okay. Earlier, Michael and Cap were talking about Rolling Stone magazine. And I was saying I started reading that when I was about 12 or 13. And it was real influence on me. I got a lot of music ideas and learned about a lot of artists from reading those. And you always want to be the first one on your block. And so I thought, I read a review of this album as soon as it came out and read it in Rolling Stone. And I thought, all right, I'm going to get this. I got it. I thought it was great. And I thought, that pride in knowing, before anybody else knew about this artist, you knew about him. And of course, I was just a young kid. I was 15 or so, I guess. 15, 16 years old. And I thought I was the expert. Turned out, of course, this guy was a great guitarist with co-lead guitarist with Mike Bloomfield and Paul Butterfield. He was in Paul Butterfield Blues Band, did East and West and some of the early albums from white blues artists from Chicago. So he's already, for years, a very important artist. But he was venturing out doing his solo thing. This is pre-Mickey Thompson doing the vocals. This is actually Elvin doing the vocals here. Of course, I'm talking about Elvin Bishop. This will be the one that got played on the album-oriented rock stations a lot, Traveling Shoes. This fun little song. Elvin's always seems to be lighthearted.
enough with all this stuff. This situation is enough to kill a man. Somebody fetch my coat and hat and hand to my walking cat. Gotta put on my traveling shoes. Gotta put on my traveling shoes. Gotta put on my traveling shoes. Woo! Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum. Ba-dum-bum-bum-bum.
That is a fun song right there, isn't it, folks? I love that song. If you're wanting to listen to some heavy, serious music, I mean, don't put Elvin Bishop on. If you want to have a good time and a great album to put on when friends get together for a little party or something like that, Elvin would be the real thing for sure. And next, I'm going to play from the debut album from a band that if you cornered me and said, okay, you got to pick your favorite band of all time, I would be neglectful if this one didn't come up in consideration, and may well, depending on my mood for that day, may well end up being the one I went with. They put out 6 albums and just couldn't make enough money on the road and with album sales to justify staying together. So after 6 or 7 years, they broke up and went into different areas. One guy went to work as the leader of Nancy Griffith's band. Another guy was music director for Hank Williams Jr. for a number of years. Another guy the main songwriter, Russell Smith, who wrote all the songs or co-wrote or wrote all the songs I'm about to play you right now. He went to Nashville and wrote hits for other people and had a couple of solo albums out, but nothing that caught fire or anything like that. But out of Knoxville, where Roger lives, I do believe, and out of Memphis. They were living in Knoxville. They moved to Memphis and formed this band. And much of the band had been Jesse Winchester's backing band prior to this.
Yes, baby, I know I see your bag standing by the door. You say you're leaving, it's got nothing to do with loving. Oh, but my tears still fall. I can't talk to you, hands are shaking. I keep on pacing across the floor. Oh, I should be prepared, try to prove that I don't care. Oh, but my tears still flow. Yes, I hear what you say, man. Yes, I think we both need room. When you say let's be adult about this, come here and give me one last goodbye kiss. Oh, my tears still flow.
Great soul singing feel on that one. Now this is my favorite song about falling in love with a lesbian. Imogene. It's a great song.
I was walking the dog, I saw you sitting on your veranda. And when I came back through, you were tangoing with Amanda. Imogene, won't you unlock your back door screen and invite me in for some gin and lemonade? I'd really love to love you, my little half-tropical maid. Every time I pass by, I can see through your big screen door two lovely lesbian ladies slow dancing on a parquet floor. Imogene, won't you unlock your back door screen and invite me in for some gin and lemonade? I'd really love to love you, my little half-tropical maid. I get the chills and fever every time I look in your face. I just don't understand why you don't ask me up to your place. Imogene, won't you unlock your back door screen and invite me in for some gin and lemonade? I'd really love to love you, just love to love you, my little tropical maid. I circumnavigated the Pacific Ocean, 16,000 feet in the air. When I tried to check out my emotions, I found part of them were there. Oh, I've seen a lot of stuff, never seems to be enough to me. Why can't I be satisfied? I'm a victim of the media saturation, what you call your sensory overkill. I know it's a pitiful situation, but I just can't wait for my next thrill. Though I've got a lot of stuff, never seems to be enough to me. Why can't I be satisfied? Life seems fading. I doubt if it will ever return. I'm feeling older and jaded. My fire's still there, but it won't burn. But maybe you could light a spark. Don't leave me sitting in the dark. Won't you please help me be satisfied?
And this last one we'll hear from the Aces, Amazing Rhythm Aces, is a song about loss of innocence and John Wayne.
I used to watch you when I was little. The games I played, I learned from you. I kept dreaming, you kept playing. When I woke, you were 62. Say goodbye to the king of the cowboys, first and last of the dying breed. Say goodbye to the king of the cowboys, chained to a life he doesn't need. You were always ready, whether with your gun
4 tunes from Amazing Rhythm Aces. Gives you kind of an idea of how versatile that band was, and maybe the reason they couldn't make it commercially is they would swing from a deep stack style soul song to something with a very folk or bluegrass feel to more of a rock tune, and they just didn't. It couldn't be easily defined, and that's probably what a lot of us love most about a band, but what holds them back the most if they're trying to make a living, because people like to put everything in a pigeonhole, and that's difficult to do. All right, I went on a lot longer than I planned on today. But that's fine. I was glad to see we got up to about 7 people on here. I'm going to play one last song on here. This is from a contemporary band called American Aquarium. Some of you may be well familiar with American Aquarium. Basically, B.J. Barham and whatever collection of backing musicians he puts together. But he's a hard-working touring musician, playing the clubs. He's pretty popular out in the Southwest, Texas, Oklahoma, that area, and in a lot of different places. But he's gotten some pretty good reviews from time to time. And this is, I believe I got the title track to this album from him called "Things Change." And so I'll let you give him a listen. I guess you call him Americana. I don't know.
She looked out the window and said the world's on fire. I just laughed and poured her a glass of wine. We just stared at the TV, trying to find some meaning, hoping that we'd wake up from this dream sometime tomorrow. Well, the night came and went, not a damn thing had changed. That's when I saw a tear fall from her eyes. She said, "What are we gonna do? What's this world coming to?" For the first time in my whole life, I stood there speechless. Weighing on my mind. When did the land of the free become the home of the afraid? Afraid of the world, afraid of the truth, afraid of each other. This ain't the country my grandfather fought for, but I still see the hate he fought against. Give rest to the tired, give mercy to the poor, give warmth to the huddled masses, and I'll show you freedom. The load is heavy and the road is long, worry about the world she's coming into. But she'll have my fight, she'll have her mama's fire. If anyone builds a wall in her journey, baby busts right through. The load is heavy and the road is long, and we've only begun to fight. We just can't give in, we just can't give up. We must go boldly into the darkness. The load is heavy and the road is long, and we've only begun to fight. We just can't give in, we just can't give up. We must go boldly into the darkness and be the light.
All right, American Aquarium, and Things Changed, title track from that. It's a 2018 album, kind of a song of hope, I guess you'd say, and a positive message there that we can make it. So I've been on a little less than 2 hours, which is a long time, but spinning some records. Hope you enjoyed it. Had a few people come by, and Aaron, Michael, Cap, Headley, Roger, and some others. And I appreciate everybody that did stop by, and anybody that might watch this at a later date. Some good music, roughly categorized as country rock, but that's not a very good description, but it gives you a little idea of what you might be hearing if you pop in. Anyway, folks, Sunday afternoon, Halloween. I'm not a Halloween person. I'm going to turn the lights off when it gets dark, and not going to be giving away candy if I can help it. We usually don't get many that come through this neighborhood anyway, but we'll see. I hate to say that I'm not a Halloween person, but I'm not, just not. The dog, Chester, gets all upset. He starts barking. Everybody, I have to struggle to keep him from getting to the door, and I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want my dog to accidentally bite anybody if he were to get out or anything like that. So we keep a low profile on Halloween night. So everybody, take care. Thanks for coming by, and remember, be kind to your neighbors, folks, because we're all neighbors, even if we don't participate in Halloween.